Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to our session, A Volunteer's Role in Alumni Weekend. My name is April Cole, and I'm the Director of Alumni Programs. And at this time, my two colleagues, Amanda and Nicole, will introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Amanda Martindale. I am the director for the Alumni Networks team.
And I'm Nicole Chambers. I'm the Associate Director of Events.
Well, thank you again for watching this session. We hope that you are able to have a couple key takeaways. And in particular, we're here to talk today about a role that a volunteer can play in Alumni Weekend. So I just want to give a little bit of history regarding Alumni Weekend. Alumni Weekend is ultimately homecoming and reunion. And homecoming and reunion prior to the pandemic was an event that usually took place during the fall. And it was obviously a time for alumni to come back and gather together on campus. And at Rice, the reunion focus is very heavy and very strong, since, as you know, a lot of our Rice alumni affinity is tied to a tight-knit class and even residential college. During the pandemic, we obviously had to pivot in our programming since in-person experiences were limited or not existent. And so we created a program called All Together, and that included both homecoming and reunion and also families weekend. And we allowed online programming to really be accessible for all alumni and families. But about 2 years after the pandemic began to wane down, we went back to in-person experiences and hence changed a bit of the nomenclature to Alumni Weekend because we really wanted to be comprehensive for both reunion and non-reunion class alumni and be able to welcome everyone back with some sort of opportunity for them to participate together. The goals of the weekend center around a number of things, and I just want to touch on a few for you today. That way you're aware of the big picture and what it is that we are doing on our end as a staff. And so the first is that we have a target audience. And it is to allow both non-reunion and reunion alumni the opportunity to experience things that they find an affinity with or a connection with. And so from the non-reunion standpoint, we are increasing our opportunities for programming in a way where they can gather together kind of organically and meet on campus and celebrate with their friends. We're including programming that will tap into different interests. Maybe those are interested in a physical aspect of it, so there's a run. Maybe they're interested in more of a community involvement piece. So we've hosted, now will be a second year, a community market for alumni-owned businesses. So again, just ways for everyone to find something that is of value. At Rice, we're really interested in bringing back our owls who have never engaged before. And so that would be our first time event attendee goal. So those that have never participated, whether they've been out of school for years or whether they are a new grad, that's something that we are hoping to increase our attendance on, as well as grad-only alumni. Grad-only alumni, as you know, perhaps some of you watching are grad-only alumni. You have your affinity oftentimes to your program, your school, maybe a group at when you'd gather at Valhalla, but Alumni Weekend might not have been the main push. Beer Bike obviously has a very big grad-only presence, but we want grad-only alumni to feel welcome and to feel that they have a space to gather with their classmates, maybe even with their families coming back to campus. And so we are wanting to think about programming that is relevant for them and conducive to their schedules as well. And then lastly, a goal that we met last year that I'm very proud of and that I think we're going to continue to do again is campus partner collaboration. We have a number of campus partners that have so many good things happening that they have the opportunity that weekend to share what's going on with alumni. And so being able to provide them the space to market their events, support their events in an outreach standpoint, while they are the ones obviously managing and leading the execution. So campus partner involvement, collaboration, that's also a goal. So when we think about program planning, we really think about, what are those opportunities that we have? How can we take advantage of our incredible faculty, right? How do we leverage our residential colleges and provide you experiences that you find worth your while if you're coming from, say, California or something of that sort? And so most of our opportunities for programming, we either think about what is it that we can manage that are signature programs, where all elements from beginning to end are managed, funded, supported by the Office of Alumni Relations and our events team. And then also thinking about, well, where do we have some limitations in our programming, and how can we continue to make that better? And a limitation might be the schedule. So we are thrilled to be able to partner with athletics and have a supportive environment for football. But the game time does impact sometimes our programming on a Saturday. So we need to be watchful in that. Or our residential colleges, they primarily want to participate only on Friday, not Saturday. And so that can be a limitation. Same with other elements of programming. Again, Friday versus Saturday, those can sometimes be a challenge. Registration for the Alumni Weekend wide program versus a niche area. Those can also sometimes be a little bit complex to navigate. So we take these things all into consideration. And as we're doing our part in that, one of the best ways that we can really make Alumni Weekend this engaging, active program is through you, volunteers. And there's a couple ways that you can really get involved, even if you're not, hands-on in the nitty-gritty of all the elements I just talked about. There are ways that, to me, are very manageable, exciting, for you to participate in helping bring back your friends ultimately to campus. The first is to really just serve as an ambassador. And that might seem so simple, but to be honest, it's probably one of the most important roles that we have. And that is you helping to spread the word. The Rice community, I have found it's its own group, right? We have folks that you've had text message chats for years. People have stayed connected to folks over decades. There's a really incredible community among alumni at Rice. And so can you tap into those networks, social, text, whatever the mechanism might be, to really spread that word and meet up with those either at reunion or non-reunion events. We provide collateral for that. We are able to give you whatever you need to do that. But for you to be a mouthpiece for that is really important, and truly, I would say, one of the most impactful ways to get folks back to campus. I have an individual I know who 3 folks said yes to coming to their reunion that same evening, solely because he sent them a text message, said he would be there, and said, hey, come on, I'm going to be there. And 3 showed up. I'm telling you, they would not have come if they didn't get that message. So being an ambassador is very important. And again, we can provide that collateral. We just ask that you commit to spreading the word. Another way to be involved, and my colleagues are going to talk about that in a moment here, is around more niche participation. So maybe it's with your reunion class, either the giving committee or outreach to participation in the event. Affinity group leadership and participation, things that are very specific to the area that you might identify with. And being able to participate in that, I believe the more that we have those communities that are gathering together, the more we're going to start to expand Alumni Weekend just as a whole. So in a moment when you hear those ways to connect and participate, be thinking about if that's applicable to you. And then lastly, something that's actually very simple but also fun is thinking about, would you like to be a host for one of these events? Maybe you're a runner, maybe you were on the track team and you want to host one of the alumni runs that we are doing, a signature event, or you want to host a gathering of friends at our beer garden that we're piloting this Alumni Weekend. We're happy to provide you with some basic resources to do that. We're happy to highlight you in that way. But if you're able to provide your presence and a sense of community and gathering, that would be wonderful. So again, it's very forward and front facing. It's probably things you're already doing, reaching out to your friends. It's just more formalizing it. That would be very helpful on our end to make sure that we have a great representation at homecoming and reunion programming. With that said, I'm going to turn it on over to my colleague here, Amanda Martindale, and she is going to take it away when it comes to some examples of volunteer-led events.
Yeah, so April's really set us up perfectly, giving a little bit of the history of Alumni Weekend, the ask to participate as ambassadors, but then also this subject of niche participation and what that can look like. We really hope that you're able to walk away from this session with an idea of how to brainstorm and to think of how your group might want to participate in this next Alumni Weekend. And so we have some examples of that in ways that other groups have participated in the past. So if you're looking at group specific, I know there's a variety of volunteers who may be watching this. So if that is an annual giving class, if that is an affinity group volunteer, or maybe even other niche programming that hasn't been a part of Alumni Weekend in the past, hopefully these will help you to brainstorm a little bit. Some of our affinity groups in the past have done, cultural planning or programmatic pieces that make sense with their, whether that's partner college, student group, other on-campus connection in that way. So our Solar group hosted a Loteria night last year where they invited different alumni to participate at Huff House. There was a piñata. There were conversations about what the student component of Auxerre was doing in the Rice community, and a great way to connect some of the bridges that way. Our Rice Engineering alumni has hosted a reception with the School of Engineering in the past, and then there's also a Praying Rice Owls prayer breakfast that is a connection with student ministries, and that has been an annual event that they've hosted on the Saturday morning typically in the past. That's definitely not all of the options that exist, and we support you and encourage you to be creative and intentional in whatever programming you might be interested in doing. So some of those additional options or ideas right now, you could hear from a panel of current students, or maybe even possibly be a panel for current students, depending on what your sort of niche and involvement is. Some of our groups have also utilized Alumni Weekend to host scholarship recognitions or receptions in that way, so that when their student component is receiving awards, they're able to recognize them in a broader community. And a lot of the times it's this nice moment where we are setting them up for their alumni participation in the future. And I think everybody really enjoys seeing that at Alumni Weekend. If your group would be interested in hosting maybe a specific staff or faculty speaker to talk to your specific alumni community, I think that has been a great and popular option in the past. We also have faculty moments during Alumni Weekend that are already planned, so we want to be cognizant of that, but still listed as an option to maybe make your own in a way that doesn't make sense for the greater All Alumni Weekend community. You could always gather for a social, whether that's at the beer garden, at Alumni Weekend, or a separate place on campus or off campus. And then also wanting to encourage you to use it as a recruitment effort. I think there are so many alumni at Rice that are doing great things, that have different pieces in common with other alumni, but if you're not involved already, you may not know that those groups exist. And so using it as a moment to use it as a recruitment effort to tell people that you do exist and you want others to join your group, or you want to share that information with someone else. I think this is a nice time where everyone is really coming together and really gives that opportunity to do that. But regardless of how you decide to participate or if to participate in Alumni Weekend with your group, we really just encourage you to start thinking of those ideas now. If you have a staff partner that's either within, alumni relations or maybe outside of that, get with them now to start talking about what your involvement in Alumni Weekend can look like. And April and Nicole and I are also great resources for that as well. I am going to hand it off to Nicole now to talk a little bit more in depth about the events team's support that they've been able to provide.
Great. Thanks, Amanda. So our team does the logistics for all of the events that happen on Alumni Weekend that are the signature events that April was talking about, those ones that are produced by the Office of Alumni Relations. But and Amanda shared a lot of great ideas of different events that affinity groups or other groups can put together. And know that even though our team is planning the logistics for those signature events, we are here as a resource for some of the events that you are planning kind of as part of Alumni Weekend as well. So some of the services that we can provide for our volunteers are different caterer or vendor recommendations here in Houston. Our team works with a wide variety of different vendors and different price points and different specific areas. So happy to provide you some helpful information there. Also, in the beginning of the year, we kind of do a blanket reservation across campus of a lot of the spaces that are available, just to put them on hold for if we feel like we need them for Alumni Weekend. So a lot of those spaces are on hold for any needs that we have, and we can utilize some of that space and look to see what would be the most appropriate for the event that you're wanting to host. Also, we can help you with a registration page. One of our staff assistants on our team would gather the information and put together that helpful registration page within our system that we do. You might have done that for a regional event and known the process for that. Also, event timeline and date guidance. April touched a little bit on this. So Alumni Weekend has a broader kind of signature event schedule that's already in place. And so looking in that schedule and trying to find the best time that we could accommodate your event so that you would not overlap with, say, the presidential town hall or something like that. Kind of giving some guidance on what some best solutions might be. And then just general planning guidance, if there's anything specific that is needed, kind of beyond this list. All right, so process for getting that support. Amanda kind of touched on the fact that most of you have some sort of representative within DAR, Development and Alumni Relations, whether that's a major gift officer or an alumni relations staff person. Connecting with that staff representative is going to be important. So connect with them, share the ideas and the thoughts, and kind of brainstorm what you want to put together. Give them all the information that you might need and all the questions that you have. That person will then connect with the events with me or another person on the events team and kind of go over through all of that information and try to provide some options for you among the needs that you might have. In addition to that, they would kind of give you the specific needs for that registration page if that's what you're needing. So they might have like specific questions that they would ask you so that we can make sure that we get all the information into the system so that the page is fully complete. And then, so the way that would work is that we would give all of that information to the staff representative, and then they would connect with you. If they feel like there's a need for us all to meet at once, happy to put that meeting together. You would just coordinate that with that staff representative. So thank you guys so much for listening, and I hope that was super helpful. I'll kick it back to April to close this out.
Thanks so much, Nicole. There we go. Thanks so much, Nicole. Thank you, Amanda. So hopefully this was helpful to those of you that were watching. Again, we are here as a resource, and we look forward to your participation in Alumni Weekend in whatever capacity that might be. Thank you so much.